How you doing, folks? Mario from MF Fly Tying. Thank you very much for joining us again. If you are new to the channel, thank you very much for watching the video. Hopefully you enjoy it and you want to subscribe, and for those returning, thank you very much for your continued support. So, I was on the Lake of Mentith yesterday, fishing the Clubbies semi-final for Hair Law. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to make it through, but I had a really good day with John Bennett, who was my boat partner, and between us we had, I think, nine for the boat and a few fish lost and some other opportunities, but thoroughly enjoyed our day. Conditions were pretty tough, but fish were there to be caught. So what we're going to do today is we're going to tie 3 flies. First of them is going to be this here, which is, see if we can show you that, which is a small Car Booby. And this is a fly that I fished on my point, and it's deliberately got small eyes on it. And the reason for that is the conditions, although they were reasonably good when we first went out, they were due to change, and I think we got up to something like 35 mph gusts. So I went out with a slow glass, so sinking line. If you don't know what that is, it's an airflow that I've got that you get on your other manufacturers, but it sinks at a rate of ½ an inch per second, so really slow, and that just allowed the flies just to dig in a little bit in the wave. But I did go between that and a fast glass, and I had fish on both lines. This is the booby that I had on the point, so fishing it with larger booby eyes, problem with that is it's going to stay up on the surface for too long, and as we were getting pushed along in the boat, those flies weren't getting time to get down to the depth that they needed to. Didn't have to get down deep, but they did have to get down, you know, ½ a foot or something like that. So right, so the thread I'm using is a Textreme fluorescent orange. The marabou I'm using is from Dave Downey, which is Springwater Blue, which is, if you've tried Davey's marabou, then you'll know that it is the best that's out there, in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of the viewers will agree. You can use a full feather, so there's very little waste from it. And then the kind of micro chenille that I'm using is a UV Straggle, an extra fine. That's from Vineyards. So when I brought that down the body of the fly, I'm just leaving, it's not touching turns. I've opened up those turns a little bit so that you can see the orange thread. So it's a kind of segmented body. And then we'll just add in our wing. Get our wing tied in. Again, Springwater Blue. That tied in nice and tight. And just remove just about the same length as our tail. And then, as I said, it's a small booby, so these are pretty small booby eyes. I've got these in both yellow and in white. I like it in yellow. Yellow's my preferred colour for the boobies. Don't know if that's just something that's in my head or if it's or not. I think everybody's got their kind of favourite colours. But it will work in white or yellow are my two favourites. I dare say that orange eyes will work as well, but as I said, if I'm tying them, white or yellow. So this particular fly took my first fish up just off the Malin shore, and I got that fish pretty quick. I think it was about 9:20 or something like that. We started at 9 o'clock, so by the time we motored up and got fishing, got through all the boats, because it was as I said, it was windy and there was only really 2 locations any of the boats kind of went to. There was a few that went down to International, but I reckon those boats can back up onto the Marlin Shore or into the cages, where if you were in there and fishing in towards the burn, there's a stack load of fish out there. So I think my boat partner Barry Lennon and actually the top rod for the water, Alan Stephen, they both had a good day, and I think Alan had 16 fish, so well done to those that won. I think Tyler was second, 14 fish. I can't remember the numbers for the third guy in the select team, so not the select team. Geez, who did they work? Tartan Tyres. So well done, guys. Congratulations. Good luck in the final. We'll move on to the next fly, but if you've enjoyed that, give us a wee thumbs up before we move on. So hang around and we'll move on to the next fly, which is a wee cormorant. Right, guys, fly number 2, which as I said is a wee cormorant, and I'll show you the fly that was using yesterday, just to a bit of evidence that they do work. It's a bit beaten up. That's the fly that we're going to be tying. So here's the one from yesterday. So if you can see, the orange body is deteriorated. So that fly there's caught a few fish. Wasn't a size 10, but I'm needing some size 12, so I'm going to tie it in a size 12 for you. So just a size 12 nymph hook. In fact, the eye on that hook is pointing up the way for some reason, so we need another hook. There we go. That's better. So we're sticking with the fluorescent orange thread. Again, dead easy fly to tie. Got a bed of thread into the hook, and then we'll just come up to where the point starts. Yesterday it was washing line, a washing line setup that I had. So I know that there's a few guys that are new to fishing, or even some experienced guys there, that some of the terminology you might not be aware of, but basically washing line, it's just a terminology of how you're setting up your cast. So I had the booby that was just tied on the point, and then 2 droppers, and each of those droppers had a cormorant. And as I said, I was fishing with a fast glass, a slow glass, which sinks at half an inch per second, so really slow. And the way that I was fishing it was casting out line. I wasn't fishing particularly far because it was windy, so trying to control the flies was important. So cast them out, 2 or 3 pulls of the fly line, and then just twiddle the flies back. And twiddling is just figure of 8. Now, I did see a few guys that were doing fast figure of 8s. For me, I found that fishing it almost static is the best option. So we've got peacock herald for the body here. I would generally put a bit of super glue down here, but my mother-in-law needed some super glue for a wee repair in her kitchen worktop, so she's away with it, and she's not brought it back yet. So I generally use a wee bit of super glue in there just to hold the fibres down. But yeah, as I was saying, it was washing line, cast out the flies, 2 or 3 pulls just to pop the booby on the top, and then just twiddled those back, almost static. It's how I was getting the best results yesterday. But as I said, I did see a few guys that were fishing their flies quite a bit quicker. So play about with the retrieve when you go out. So the wing on this fly is a really sparse marabou. That's maybe a little bit too sparse. you're really looking for the bloods, which are just the kind of thin parts of the marabou. I'll show you in the camera just now. So that's them up at the top there. See that? So don't throw those out. You can use them. See if I can get that wing tied in. And you want the wing just to be to the bend of the hook, just off the back there. Tie that down, and then remove the waist as close as you can. We'll just tidy that head up a wee bit. There we go. Now for the cheeks, this is a sunburst goose biots. I'm just taking off the point of those, just like that, so they're square at the end, or else they end up looking a little bit too thin. Make sure they're locked in. Keep your thread tight, and then just pull off the biots, and then just in with some Sally Hansen, hard as nails. Again, I would usually just use a wee bit of super glue for the head here, and that helps to A, protect it, but B, it keeps the colour of that orange thread. I'm out for dinner with her tonight for her 70th, so I'll probably not give her into trouble for stealing the glue just now. I'll let her get her birthday over and done with. So there we go. Get a wee bit of Sally Hansen just in the thread wraps, just to protect it a little bit. And that is you. So that one there is the one that was fishing yesterday. You'll see, you can still see that, you can see the orange thread that's coming through on it. But that is a fly there. Just a wee pearl butt on it. Some peacock stuff there. Just one strand of it, keep the body nice and slim, and then your goose biots and sunburst. So that was my middle dropper fly. That's the one that took most of my fish yesterday. And as I said, fishing it almost static, cast it out, 2 or 3 pulls, 4 pulls maybe. With a booby, get a bit of disturbance on the top of the water, that draws the fish in, and just slow twiddle it back, figure of 8, just keeping in contact with the flies but not necessarily moving them, was how I was getting the fish, and just feel them locking up. So very much like buzzer fishing, and because we were fishing a slow glass, those flies were just going down through the water column really slowly. As I said, when the wind picked up, moved on to the fast glass, and that was just taking the flies down because we were having to keep up with the flies a little bit quicker. So again, chopping and changing between the 2 lines was something that worked. And you might need to do that 2 or 3 times when you're out, depending on the weather conditions. So don't be scared again if you're on a floating line and you think the fish are a bit deeper, or it's windy, or you're fishing for the boat and you've got a tip line, maybe try that. I know a lot of the guys were fishing a midge tip, probably a 3 foot midge tip. Unfortunately mine is falling to pieces, so I didn't have that line yesterday, but I will need to get one for going down to Rutland. So we'll move on to the third fly, guys. Just bear with us, and hopefully you're enjoying the videos. If you are new to the channel, thank you very much for joining us. Please hit the subscribe button for future notifications, and I'll move on to the next fly. Right guys, last fly that I was fishing yesterday is another cormorant, dead easy to tie. This is the one I was using yesterday. Really simple, black thread, an opal tinsel on it, some orange goose biots, and some marabou goose bloods. So that's in a size 10, but I'm needing some size 12s for my box, so I'm going to tie that. And a 12, just a 12, a size 12 nymph hook. I'll get some black thread down the length of the hook, just to where the point is, and then just build up that body a wee touch, up and down 2 or 3 times, and then we'll come in with our opal. This is a medium opal mirage, and that's going to create our collar. Just bring it down a third, way down the body, and then all the way back up. As I say, dead easy fly to tie, really quick, but does the business on the water, which is the main thing. So we've got our mirage, an opal mirage tied in there, and then we're going to come in, if I can find some bloods from our marabou. I've been tying quite a lot of flies just now, so hopefully I've got some bloods left here. There we go. Just want that off the back of the hook to create our wing. It's perfect. And then just remove our waist. As close as you dare. And the head. And just tidy everything up there. And then we'll come in with some orange goose bites for this. I really only tie with orange, fluorescent yellow, some red, white, most of them actually now that I see it. But my favourites are the orange, yellow, and sunburst. That's the 3 kind of favourite colours that I generally will use. Those tied in. And just break them off. And build up the head. Just make sure everything's neat and tidy. And then come in with your whip finish. And that is your 2 cormorants and your booby for the Lake of Mentith. Hopefully you enjoyed that, guys. If you are new to the channel, thank you very much for joining us today. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video enough to subscribe. And if you're out over the weekend, guys, give the cormorants a go, especially if you're in the lake or doing a treat. Thank you very much for your continued support, guys. Really do appreciate it. I met a lot of really nice guys up at the lake yesterday that took the time to come out and come over and say hi and thanks for doing the video. So I do really appreciate that. For everybody that's out fishing this weekend, tight lines, and we'll catch you on the water. Take care.